Hello, welcome to the Citizens Advisory Council meeting for April 16th. For the review of the agenda, we're going to go over public comment, board member comment, which we don't have today, senior leadership comments, which we also may or may not have, policy committee update, policy discussion, and the recruitment discussion. So for the meeting minutes from the February 6th meeting, is there a motion to approve those?
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Great, thank you, Celeste. Is there a second?
I think that has to be you. I'm a non-voting member.
Oh, I should ask, is there a second?
Okay, second. Okay. It looks like Mr. J is on.
Excellent.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We were just going through the, we just approved the minutes. And then we're going down to public comment, which we don't have any, it doesn't look like we have any public comment. And then next would be board member comment from Mr. J.
Okay. I'm happy to be here. Had a bit of a login issue, but I'm glad to be here. I want to thank the committee for working so hard to get us to this point. I know people are traveling and not available today, but you've all done such marvelous work. The CAC has become a force and committees for the county, as it should be. Voices have been heard, and I look forward to continuing the work. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, and then we don't have any senior leadership comments for today. Celeste, oh, sorry.
So Dr. Marco is in a meeting. He was supposed to join us online. He may have had some trouble to what I've had. I actually had the same link. It just wouldn't appear. And so I called in. So I don't know if he's having some troubles, but I know he had a meeting to attend.
Okay, perfect. Just put for a do that. Okay. Celeste, did you have a policy committee update?
Yeah, so we met at the end of March, and I missed the February meeting due to some family things, but the March meeting, you know, in our committee here at CAC, we had started discussing AI a while back, remember? And it just happened to show up exactly on the agenda for the March meeting, which was a really interesting discussion. Definitely there are some different, sorry.
I'm sorry, Lindsay, can you mute yours because I think we're hearing an echo? So thank you.
Okay, I might be echoing. I'm in the kitchen. So we discussed AI. There are definitely a difference. There's a lot of opinions about where we're going with this. I know in our committee, we had said, oh my gosh, you know, AI has been around for several years. The kids are way ahead of the game. You know, we've got to figure out what to do with this and, you know, kind of help the staff make sense of it, help the students make sense of it, figure out what, as a LEA, what are we going to do about AI? How do we use it? How do we regulate all of that? The policy discussion, you know, because we don't really have a policy that addresses that specifically. The House and Senate, there are bills that are addressing AI and supporting individual school systems to implement policies. Dr. Cuppett spoke about this at length at our meeting, and it was a great discussion. FCPS is monitoring the development of legislation at the federal and state levels, and a big feeling during the committee meeting was that to wait and see what they're going to do, and probably it may be really close to our the copyright policy, how we follow. Well, John and I evaluated the copyright policy. We met with Mr. Blivis to discuss it and came up with no changes because we're following the laws and there's really nothing else that we need to do. So there was some feeling that could end up the same case here. We are looking forward to the state guidance, but AI has been around and it is changing. So now, and I think Mr. Rose brought up the point. He said, there's AI that has been created out there to detect AI. And so it is just a lot. We've got vendors right now that we utilize for different things through FCPS. If they're using AI, we currently opt out of any AI enhancements until we have more guidance as an LEA. So AI brains, and I learned this too, are taught by humans to interpret information. So another concern for our school system would be, is there bias involved in how the AI is evolving and is being taught to either create things or interpret things? So that's a big issue too. So it kind of went towards, let's go and let's wait and see what happens because of the timing. But the timing looks like we're not going to get anything like that for another year to a year and a half, where to the point where then we would, as a school system, look at adopting our own policy, like, putting it into our own policy. But then Mr. Rose spoke back up and I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, did you want to say something?
Go ahead and finish. I have thoughts, but go ahead, please finish.
Okay, yeah, no, this is an important discussion. It was a really robust conversation. I believe that it was Mr. Rose that came back out and said, we can't really wait for all of that to happen because this is happening right now in our system. So, and I absolutely agreed with that. Right now, AI is just kind of a free roam approach. Like, people are just using it. Kids are using it. I don't know. I hear people talking about it every day that I go into a school. So we do need to partner with an expert on AI, but we're going to have to vet them out to make sure they have experience and that they're appropriate with sharing the educational space that we have. It's a long process. So at the end of this conversation, we said that the Board of Ed would discuss the creation of an ad hoc committee to investigate AI for policy writing, et cetera. And that's sort of how we left it.
Okay. I will say that so AI is not going anywhere, and if anything, it's only becoming more complex. We now have Sora, which is can you hear me okay, by the way?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Sora, which is made by OpenAI, which now can take text and produce a movie. I've already watched movies produced by just text.
Wow.
Full feature, like, backgrounds and put it this way, Tyler Perry, who's one of the more prolific movie makers, was going to invest $800 million into expanding his studio. Once he had the professional level disclosure of the technology available with the OpenAI from Sora, he canceled his plans to invest $800 million into his studio.
Wow. Saying
that I could just type a few texts and get the same thing done. He had concern because it's going to cost jobs that he would have hired, but it was futile for him to invest $800 million to expand his studio of what the software could do. So I believe waiting is a fallacy. Because it's changing every day, and with AI, we're gonna have to have this. I mentioned a lot about for the boy have to be nimble. Mm-hmm. We have to be nimble, and school as it was is gone. It is so gone. Pencil and paper is can be useful, but technology is moving forward, and we don't want to have our kids stagnated. There's a balance for things, and just like with cell phone, the same thing is you teach them how to use it. To have your kids no, hold these rocks and stones and don't use technology. There is a bad way to use a spoon, so we teach them how to use the spoon properly. So same thing here. We have to provide them the skills, and we have to become knowledgeable in ourselves so we can teach them how to use it. Right now, it's in their exams. College Board already has an AI requirement in their coursework. I'm teaching AP Comp Sci right now, and now the course has been changed. It changed on a dime. College Board had the entire course planned out for the year. AI dropped, and in September they stopped, took the course back, made changes, and reevaluated the exam based on AI. And the key thing that's going to help us as educators is going to be this one phrase: authentic assessment. That's how you get around a concern with AI. Because our concern is not because you use tools, it's about are they learning and do they know the material? Not can they use the tool. The tool is great to use. But what happens is, do they have the knowledge? So for instance, with authentic assessment, like for example, what's happening in College Board, the students will, at an exam day, they'll produce their responses to questions based on the code. The code was generated by AI and they had no part in the code creation. They couldn't respond to questions. They'd be clueless. Same thing as the science fair. If a kid had their uncle do the project for them, when you ask them questions about it, they're gonna go, but if they actually were working and gaining knowledge from it, they can respond to it. So I think for educators in the classroom, STPS, we have to now incorporate authentic assessment in our coursework. And we can't just have, only assessment through, it's gonna push us to do the right things, like Bloom's taxonomy. The highest level of education is gonna be production. Students produce things like on the spot, on demand, questions. So I think that having authentic assessment is going to be a key thing to make sure we assure learning, and then having our kids use the tools that I mentioned before, having them reference in their work. So I think we're not at a loss here to go fast with this because it's going to change, and it's going to be a policy we have to revisit maybe once a year. Every 2 years. We have to be faster than most policies because this is fast. It's changing, right? Pretty soon, you're gonna be able to type in a paragraph and get a feature-length film. So we have to be fast, and we can't wait. So I'm gonna encourage my peers on the board. Right now, it's all about budget right now. So I have to know budget driven right now. But as the second that smoke clears, I'm gonna be on about two things. I want parents in the classroom for back to school night in high school, and we have to be good with AI. So. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. I definitely noted that for just so you guys know, I've got an ongoing document that I take notes in the policy committee, and I also take notes here. And it's just an ongoing fluid document for me, so I can go back and forth. And I've kind of figured out that makes it easier to communicate between the two groups. I just wanted you to know that's what I'm doing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It helps me keep it straight too. That was like I said, it was a great conversation. And I know that by the time we get, a focus committee together and other things going on, it's going to have changed again. I mean, this is absolutely moving target. So, but we're on it. So anything else about AI?
I think for the purpose of the minutes, I just put kind of what you said at the beginning, and then I just put FCPS is planning to continue to follow upcoming developments as the policy is developed. Is that accurate, you think?
Yeah, they're following the state and federal guidelines as they develop policy, but also the policy committee's official recommendation was back to the board to discuss the creation of an ad hoc committee to investigate AI on our own. So as a county system, in addition to waiting for the state and the federal legislation to come forward.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Okay. Couple other small things we discussed: student discipline. Ms. Allen wanted to make the language in that policy more stern. So I think they're going to come back our next meeting is in May. We're not meeting in April. So they're going to come back with a few revisions in May. And then that one, which is policy number 403, should be sent back to the Board of Ed for their first reading on that one. There weren't too many additions that we put in there. And I think, again, we have the student code of conduct and we have regulations. And I think that's where people get a little bit bogged down in the details, because the details are actually, to me, in my opinion, more in the regulation. And that's kind of what governs what happens day to day in your classrooms. But the policy has to say what the intent is of the board. So we want those to match. So there wasn't much in that. The graduation policy 405 is actually reviewed annually because it has to be. So no changes were presented, and FCPS will notify the community of graduation requirements to the community annually. So that was that. That's short and sweet. There was a big discussion about charter schools also. That's policy number 440. The renewal process is really outdated, and that is on page 12 of that policy. Dr. Oliveto presented and believes that a lot of that information might be better housed in a regulation than in the policy itself. So we're going to talk more about that into May, in the May meeting, and we'll have a draft to talk about there. Student education records, 421 is the policy number for that. It was just an update on language. Ms. Gallagher suggested adding a definition of what student records are and what they include. And we all agreed to that. So that policy is going to go on to the Board of Ed for its first reading, just to take those small edits into consideration. And the next one was 438, test administration and data reporting. It's really, really old. That one was last reviewed in 2009. So we put that on our list. The language was just cleaned up and updated to add some resources, so that there's really nothing new there. So the next ones, we kind of got into 309 and 437. So 309 is the policy on discrimination and harassment. And that is focused, 309 is focused on staff and adults. Bullying, harassment, intimidation is policy number 437. And that is geared towards students. So we had a really great discussion about this. You can tell I really do like the policy committee, because I am so excited about the discussions that we have. And I love looking at different angles, and people bring in all kinds of different sides to make sure we're covering everything we need to and get the best outcome. And I love that. So we evolved the conversation from this policy 309 is geared towards the staff and employees and adults, and then 437 with students. And by the time we ended the conversation, we evolved into drafting a powerful statement for the new policy to incorporate everybody in our community, because everyone's a human being. And we really felt that, regulations are going to be different based on how you're going to handle discipline and how you're going to handle maybe employee situations. But we really liked to have the whole statement. We've come out in a similar situation on racism that we've discussed, and there's a policy that's strong on that. And so we thought this needs to say our community believes this for everybody. So I like that conversation. It needs to have some powerful language. So they're going to draft that and come back in May with that one. Policy 117 is our anti-racism policy, which is a very powerfully worded document. And that is all encompassing. That includes our whole FCPS community. And we really felt that making this discussion about bullying and harassment, again, to represent the whole community, would send a powerful message of what we really do stand for. So that was a great discussion. And that's going to come back. May 15th is our next policy meeting. And that is all I had from that meeting. So there's a lot of things that need to be drafted. So they decided we did not need to have an April one. So we're going to go ahead and do May.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You guys covered a lot of ground.
We did.
That's awesome. And it looks like a lot of the things that we had talked about at our February meeting too. So that's great.
Good. That's really good.
Is there anything that we need to discuss as far as for our policy discussion?
I don't think there's anything that's, unless you have feedback from any of the things I just talked about, because most of those are going to come back to us in May. And there'll be some new things probably on the list if they think we have time.
Okay.
But if there's any feedback on any of that stuff, I'm happy to note it and take it back.
So I'm wondering with the policy 309 and policy 437, the bullying and the discrimination for the employees, if there could be similar wording for supports. after an investigation, whether that be for students or for employees. It's very clear in the regulation for bullying harassment for students that what the supports are, including counseling and different things. But that's not articulated as well in the current 309. So when they're pulling those two together and they're talking about a strong statement, to just look at that to include possibly supporting both the possible offender and the target, whether that be for student or for employee.
Okay. Thank you. And you said that the support is articulated well for students after an incident occurs, but not, we need to enhance the one for the adults and the staff?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The community, whatever that for the adults. Yes,
Sure.
not
Okay.
not involving a student.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And I think policy 117, the racism policy, goes into multiple aspects, including data, information. And so if they mirror it similar to that, I think that will cover that need for the supports and being all encompassing. But if just, I think mirroring that with the in-depth reach that 117 has for the anti-racism policy, then that would probably encompass a lot of the things, including data, including supports, including training, and again, training for both students and staff. So all of that was outlined within the anti-racism policy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. That's awesome.
Great. Anything else? Should we talk about recruitment of new members next?
I would encourage that. So
Yes.
I've spoken at the board meeting several times to get that word out there. We got commercials every time we have a assembly. I speak about that. I've got people who've told me they have friends who are applying. Have you folks had anybody apply that you know of?
So Catherine shared, I believe that it's closing or closed for the recruitment for CAC, but that she did have both student and adult. I don't know how many. I don't know if it was a large number. So, I have no idea. So, but I believe it's going to the board for May, for review in May, from my understanding.
Okay, so I wonder. I'll try to get a count from her on the number. But if she's sending it to the board, then we had a good number of people apply then. Because if it was less than, she'd probably request that we extend it. So that's good. Okay, great. Well, there's some new folks in. So I know. Our team is like, people are out and about today, but right now, where do we stand with officers for our incoming class? So Lindsay, are you staying?
Yes, I was going to stay.
Okay, awesome. Celeste?
So apparently my term is a 3-year term, so I think I'm good for another year, and I plan on staying.
Awesome. Because apart from just your collective wisdom and what you gain going through the process of actually helping us develop to the point where we are, it's just good to have leadership for those who are kind of coming on. And I think we have to, hopefully we can do a better job of this time managing expectations. So people come on thinking like, it's not this, it's this. We do have an impact, but you're a sounding board and you're an advisor, but you're not. So hopefully that's all worked out this time. So yeah. Oh, great.
Okay. So we'll just wait to. Oh, you're going to say something, Sabrina?
So I guess we'll wait. I know that Catherine did send out the recruitment request twice. So I think, again, I don't know numbers, but you'll have that information for Mr. J, and we'll go from there. Lindsay, I know that Lauren was taking the lead, but she is not going to renew. She had mentioned that she had communicated with you. Are you offering to take the lead going forward?
Yes, that's fine. If that's okay with everybody. I don't mind.
I think that would be great.
I don't know if it needs to be, I don't know when we decide that, if it's decided when all the new people start or.
So I would hope we would codify that before they get here, so we don't have to have a vote before they get here. So Sabrina, is Lauren? So this is I thought we had a May meeting. We have a May meeting?
I don't know that there's one on this schedule.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is our last meeting until.
We have to set the dates going
Okay.
forward. Yes,
Okay.
it's our last meeting for the school year.
Oh wow. Okay, so we gotta set our dates for, I guess for the upcoming year. So, are we allowed to take a motion and a vote now? Do we have enough quorum for that?
To vote for what?
For Lindsay to step in?
I mean, I'm all for it. I nominate her. I vote for her. I support her. I have no questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the support.
Awesome. So I think our bylaws state that a quorum is by the majority present. So if
Okay.
Celeste has made a motion, I heard that you would like to nominate Lindsay.
I move to nominate Lindsay to lead our committee.
Lindsay, do you second that?
Oh, okay. Sure. Yes. Yes. I would like to vote for myself.
Oh, okay. So everybody's in favor, it sounds
Okay.
like.
Okay, well, there we are. And our bylaws do state those who are present. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are, congratulations, Lindsay.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You.
And
No,
yeah,
I'm
and
happy. I really have enjoyed this. I mean, I know we're all like learning together, but I think it is important, and I have enjoyed it. So I'm excited to have some new people and kind of fresh thoughts and everything. So
excellent. Excellent. And Mr. J, I know you can't, you've called in, so you can't see. So Dr. Marco has just joined us. So welcome, Dr. Marco. And
I apologize for coming late. I was doing other duties as assigned and working with our CCAC ad hoc camera committee.
excellent. And so are there any comments? We skipped over senior leadership comments. Are there any comments that you'd like to share with us?
I would just ask you to pay close attention to the budget in the coming month. We're looking at a significant shortfall, and as much advocacy we can get from constituents at this point would be very helpful, but it's going to be a very challenging budget this year. Right now, we're staring at $44 million shortfall. So we do have an uphill climb in front of us.
Well, that's better than the last number. I heard 52 last, so 43 is a good number. That's encouraging. To a few $1 million down. I thought 52. 43 is.
You're right, Mr. J. I've been hearing different numbers for the past 3 days. So 52 does sound more accurate. I heard 43 today. 52 sounds right though.
Okay. Well, I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think you are. I think I was looking at some other calculations that we've been playing with. So I do think it's 52 after the county executive gave $10 million additional this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, that's a great point, Dr. Marco. Please, ring the bell for advocacy to those you speak with. Help us with that. It's something we are looking at. Yeah.
Is
I have
there
a
any?
question. Sorry.
We probably have the same question. I was going to ask if you had any. Is what specifically we could do? Is there?
There's a county council meeting next Tuesday at 7:00 at Winchester Hall where they are taking public comment. I know that Dr. Dyson will be there. I will be there. It's an opportunity for the public to come out and share with the council some of your advocacy and desires for Frederick County Public Schools.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, my question was who to advocate towards, I guess, about our budget, like whose hands are we trying to get more money from? at this point. I was at the budget hearing earlier, and I guess I think that was in February or January. But that was just within SEPS. And so that was before it had gone to the county level.
My understanding is that our Board of Education, Mr. Jay and his colleagues, approved a $63 million budget above maintenance of effort. It was sent over to the county executive. The county executive has to look at a variety of different things, not just FCPS, FCC, the Sheriff's Department, Fire and Rescue, a variety of different things that she has to look at. And then she releases her budget, and then the county council will come in behind it and vote on the budget. My understanding as well is the county council, if they're going to add money to FCPS, they would have to look within the existing budget of the county executives and take it from somewhere else.
Okay. So county council is where we're going right now.
Correct.
Okay. And if we cannot make that meeting, we could probably talk to our individual county council members.
You could.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, is there anything else on recruitment of new members? So we'll wait until we hear from the board in May. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get a hold of Catherine earlier than that. And if I do, I'll send that out if I get information beforehand.
Okay. And then the next one is open comments and then future meetings. So do we pick the dates now, or how does that work?
So we can pick the dates now. Yes.
Okay.
We need to look at if CAC is going to continue meeting as frequently as we have, or other jurisdictions sometimes go to quarterly, meet once a quarter, and again, depending on the advocacy, and they can add additional meetings as needed if they want to do that throughout the year, if there's a ad hoc reason to do so. So we want to look at some future meetings. Do we still want to say Tuesday is good for us? I guess let's start there, because again, for board meeting nights, that's usually, if we stay consistent, that's easier. So keeping it on Tuesday nights. Most other meetings start at 6. Do we want to keep it? Do we want to keep it at 7 or start at 6, still on Tuesdays? And then looking at future dates, including, again, needing to look at the calendar for when does school start next year, when do we want to start our meetings, and how frequently.
Can we also, does the policy committee already have their dates out? I'm just wondering if we line up so that we're meeting before they meet so that we can give Celeste feedback, so that we're,
That's a great point. That's a great point.
So I'm just kind of wondering if we should wait until that schedule comes out first and then pick our meeting so that we can talk about so it'll be timely feedback that we're giving her to take to that meeting.
But then we are actually then looking where the boardroom books up quickly, and then it'd almost be better to have dates and then not need them versus because whenever the policy committee meets, there'll be a time when we meet before they meet. So chasing them will be kind of a hard thing to do in terms of waiting for them to have schedule, and by the time they do that, there'll be space booked up in the boardroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say I think the first meeting of the policy committee that I attended was October. And so over the past few months, I've been able to kind of figure out this system for myself, and respecting the open meeting rules that we follow. It would be good to have a way to communicate in between. And I think we had talked about like a live document that could be publicly accessed. The only timing issue that and we can't do anything about it really, is when the agenda comes out and when the minutes are published. And that's true for any, whether it's the Board of Ed meeting or the policy committee or ours. It's just the timing doesn't always match if you're a couple weeks out. And by the time the agenda gets set, people can add things to the agenda. For me, with the policy going between the two groups, I thought it would matter more at the beginning, but now I feel like it's okay. So I think it's fine if we're in between. I hopefully will struggle with Tuesdays in the fall because I'm hoping to have a high school athlete playing soccer. So that might affect September and October for me in terms of Tuesday nights, because I know their games are on Tuesdays. But again, that would only be 1 or 2. So I'm not asking to make a change for me, but that's kind of where I don't know anything else about next year.
How does Mondays look for the crew? Monday or Thursday?
Mondays could work.
I could do Mondays. Yeah.
Mondays work?
Yep. I have to drive to Rockville on Thursdays,
Okay.
Thursdays and Fridays. So, but Mondays would work.
I know
So-
that CCAC meets on Mondays.
Okay.
So I don't know if it will be a conflict. We can, work with Catherine to see if there are alternating, if there's Mondays available. I don't know which Monday they take in the month, whether it's the 3rd, whatever. They try to stay consistent, but I don't know which Monday they take and if other Mondays are available. But we could check with that. And then policy committee meets the second, the same day as the board meeting. They meet in the morning at the second meeting of the month. So that's again, historically, the timing that they do. So if we meet again before that, then we can have information available for the policy committee meeting moving forward.
And the first September policy meeting, if my calendar is accurate, is September 25th.
So 24th then?
Should we maybe just do the September meeting and then schedule after that?
I would throw out, if we're looking at Mondays, if we looked at September 16th, and rather than having back-to-back the 24th the CAC meeting and then the 25th the Board of Ed meeting, those are 2 late nights for you, Mr. J.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah, let's spread them out.
So September 16th would be a good.
Is that Monday or Tuesday?
That's a Monday. That would go with the Monday, and then we would have to decide whether a 6 o'clock or a 7 o'clock start, and then whether or not it would be quarterly or not. I've done both monthly and quarterly. I found that the quarterly, it draws more attention because it's a jam-packed agenda, and people really are motivated to come in and do the work. That would be my only reflection.
What about, so I don't disagree with that one. I'm also thinking about the concern with CCAC though on Mondays. So do we know they have meetings set already? What day they're meeting on Monday?
I don't know if they've planned or they've given dates for the upcoming year.
I'll check with Catherine right quick. Oh, I can tell you an update. Side note update. We had 7 applicants apply for CAC. Of those applicants, 3 were students.
Oh, wow.
So.
That's amazing that we have so much student interest.
Yeah, we're pushing it, so it stuck somewhere. It's awesome.
Well, I pushed it in every single school in our zone over here because I'm on all their social media. So I took the announcement and posted it up a couple times, offered my assistance with questions. No one took me up on that, but.
Yeah, usually.
I was just going to say, it looks like that CCAC's the last Monday of each month.
Okay, so when that could work then 16th then. That would be like the second Monday, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the 16th, and then it's fine with me 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. It doesn't matter.
So then the 16th, I would like to see, because this will be like as some of you may know, this will be my last year with the board. So then that'll be the 16th. If we do quarterly, that'll be the 16th, and then let's see.
October,
We'll meet again in December, I guess. That'll be December then.
Yes, December. So if we
So-
did, again, December 16th, winter break doesn't start for the 24-25 school year until the 23rd.
So
I think he froze.
no, I didn't freeze. I was just quiet. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I thought somebody was going to speak. So that's why I waited. I was just saying, if it's the 16th for September and we do quarterly, then that'll be my last meeting then.
Oh,
Because I have to resign from office. And I think my last meeting for the board is November. Because the meeting for December, that's when they swear in. So I'm actually done in November, not December. So the December meeting will be the new swearing for the new team, and hopefully.
Why don't we do one in November, Mr. J, and that'll at least be every other month, and then we could give you the proper goodbye from CAC.
Okay, that works. I think every other month is good too because we have new people too. I think Prashad with me, but I think also having new folks, having them come back again is probably good. And then maybe you can go September, November, and then put them on a quarterly once you kind of got them trained. Yeah, training new folks. So I like
and we'll have to put some planning into the agenda, make sure that we have a good introduction and all of that planned for our new people, and make sure everyone's engaged from the start.
Yeah.
So November, that would be would that be the 18th?
I think the 11th would be the second Monday.
The 11th, and that's less Thanksgiving-y, so I think people might show up for that one.
And we can meet as a subgroup to plan the first meeting together.
Okay.
Like over the summer, so that we're prepared for the September meeting. But as a subgroup, again, as leadership. So I think that's something that can be done to bring the whole team together.
That's great.
Yeah, because I would have questions too. I want to make sure I just wanted to help, but I think there's probably more that I need to know what I'm supposed to be doing. So.
Perfect. Yeah, we will connect.
Okay.
That'll really be great for our new folks, and that'll help us keep it going. Dr. Marco, I want to thank you right here out loud so much for helping me get this this committee stood up. Your wisdom and experience was just marvelous. Helped me, make sure we actually had one that lasted. So thank you so much for that.
Mr. J, I would serve with you on any committee.
Appreciate it. Same here. Yeah, so that's great. So we have people who are signed up. Hopefully they're quality candidates. I'm sure they will be. And then we have some students who are coming. Do we have a cap on students, Sabrina?
I'm sorry. Do we have what?
Do we have a cap on how many students we can have?
I don't. I'd have to check the bylaws. I'm not sure. I don't believe we do.
Okay.
So then we could just have all of them, right?
Potentially, yes. Yeah.
Then I had say, can you do what with them again?
Well, then we could have all three of them if possible.
If possible, yeah. Then I had a note from Nancy Allen spoke with me, and she had a question for us to look at in our bylaw. Not today, just kind of a note for the future. We have a PTA a note or like kind of a requirement for recommendation for members in our bylaws. So she was hoping we could look at that and see if we what the committee felt about like possibly looking at to change that or our thoughts on that. Kind of make it more open for people to apply. I think it's pretty open to apply how we have it now, but there is a PTA recommendation for some members.
So, okay, can you elaborate a little bit on that? I'm not clear on.
I can pull it up. There's a spot. It's the bylaws. Let me pull it up. I should have had them up. I apologize.
Like that we're required to be part of our PTA, or
no. Like that,
okay.
people who apply can come from the principal and the PTA. Like there's an encouragement from that. Let me pull it up directly.
Yeah.
So let's see. Ooh. All right. But I'll pull it up and I'll come back. For now,
Okay.
bye.
Okay, and I'm going to go back for just a moment to continuing future board meetings. I'm thinking we do it November 11th, and then if we schedule out February 10th is a few months later, and then the May the 12th. So that way we're avoiding spring break, we're avoiding the holidays. Again, we're going a little in between. They're not quite quarterly, but they're close to it, but that gives us 4 for the school year. The only issue may be the May 12th, could be graduation time, but I'm not sure of the timing for graduation.
Okay, so
So-
September 16th, November 11th, February 10th, and May 12th. Do we want to do 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock?
6 is okay with me.
7's good. Okay. Dr. Marco, what's better for you, sir? I'm curious.
It's always a shorter day for me when it's 6 o'clock, but I serve this committee, the will of this committee. So whatever the interest of the group is.
Yeah, I was hearing 6 around the room. I was going to see if 6 was cool with you as well, because I think Celeste and Lindsay said 6 as well is good with them.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Celeste, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I have the meetings down then.
Perfect. And then, so when we send the minutes, I'll share with you when the minutes are sent, we need to share with Catherine that we also have proposed dates going forward within the minutes.
I put those in there too. Celeste,
Perfect.
you were flying through some of the policies.
Sorry,
can you
happy to go back.
No, it's okay. I think I got it, but can you double check it? I got to clean it up a little bit. But,
Yeah.
and then, okay. All right.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'll just send it to this group and then everybody can just double check it and then I can send it to Catherine.
Yeah, perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah, please do.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything
And then
else?
I think the discussion that Mr. Jay will expand a little bit upon, but to address the bylaws and look at changing that would be a great discussion for our first meeting to talk about that with our new, it's not on our agenda tonight. We can absolutely, we can talk about future planning, but I think that would be a great way to bring people in to maybe send them the bylaws in advance and let people know again that we'll be discussing the bylaws and some possible changes and what those may be.
Okay.
Right now, actually, on that note, I'm not seeing a PTA in this document, so I'm not sure what document was referenced from my colleague. PTA is not in the document. I'm not seeing that. It must be on the board side. She meant.
I know it was within the find out first. So the information that was sent out, it had some of that wording, but I don't know where that was pulled from.
Yeah, me either. I thought I was in here. I thought I remember seeing that, but I think it actually might be mute and old. But what I do see here is that we have the date on the bylaws currently on the website as revised in 2017, but we revised them this year. So my question right now is like, where are the ones we brought up? We made changes this year, didn't we?
We did. Yes. They
So
should.
I think that is Dr. Marco, can we have what's that crew's name? Public Affairs look at the bylaws for the website?
Well, that would actually be Catherine. I'm jumping in. Sorry, Dr. Marco. We need to provide the updated bylaws to Catherine first, and then she can get that directly to the webpage.
Okay.
So, Mr. J, you and I will talk offline, and then I'll make sure, I'll check board docs and make sure we have it updated correctly and get the information to her.
Fair enough. So, in the meantime, scratch my previous statement on looking at the PTA thing. It's not in here. So, yeah.
But we'll still talk about the bylaws, right, at the first meeting in the fall.
So I wonder about that because, like, do we want folks coming in? I mean, there's buy-in and then there's takeover. So I kind of honestly feel like people who come in should kind of come in and kind of join the group and learn what's going on, learn what we're doing, and then have an informed opinion, not come in and just like kicking the walls. That's my first thought.
I agree. I think it's hard when you're new. When I'm new, I tend to sit back and listen and ask questions, and try to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing there. And then later, as you figure out what the purpose of the organization is and what your role is, then I'm ready to look at the bylaws. But on the first day of any meeting, I would not be ready to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that should be sent to them to read ahead of time before the?
Yeah,
first-
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
I would suggest an orientation, very much like we do the Board of Education when we have new members come on. We take the time to orient them to the different processes, procedures and policies and things of that nature. I think that would be really helpful to kick off the September meeting, is just to orient them to the bylaws and the work that the CAC does.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything else?
You folks are awesome.
I think, in an open comment, I did want to, and I was not sure if I should do public comment at the beginning as a citizen but it's open comments and we're here. So I just wanted to publicly thank all of the school administrators who are dealing with this budget issue right now, especially in terms of staffing. Those are really painful decisions that they have to make. And I want to say publicly, I know that it's not a personal decision. It all comes down to numbers and formulas. Coming from a smaller school system, and our population in Walkersville is shrinking right now at the high school level and sort of middle school level. So then there's plenty of schools across the county that are feeling the crunch of losing staff, and figuring out how to do the same that you did this year, but you had a few less students, so you lost some staff members, and what that's going to look like for next year. And I know that those administrators and the staff that have to absorb that news, and kind of adjust and figure out what they're going to do, either going somewhere else or what they're going to do without their colleagues. So I want to publicly thank the people that are dealing with those things right now, because those are really hard things, and it's really difficult to go the rest of the year knowing that either you're leaving a place that you love, or as the administrator of that school, that you had to deliver that news and make those choices and figure out what's best for your whole community. So I just want to thank them for doing that, because that is the hard work that people don't really see, and know that it's not a personal choice. It's just the way the numbers are, and it's the way our formulas work. But I appreciate their efforts, and the passion that they put into those decisions. And, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge them for that. So I appreciate that a lot.
And I certainly will pass that along to our administrators. That is very much appreciated.
Yes. Well said, Celeste.
Thanks.
Hear, hear.
Okay. Anything else? Last comments? Do we
Yes.
adjourn?
Thank you, everyone. Yes, we do need to adjourn, and you need to state the time that we're adjourning.
8:05.
Oh, do we have minutes for Catherine?
I'm writing them too.
Okay, awesome.
So I'll send them out to the group to review, and then I'll send them to Catherine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you all.
Bye. Bye.